Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Future of Disruption panel. We are very excited to have you with us today, and Facebook is hosting some of our most impressive disruptors with an all-star panel. We've got Amina Pasha, who is the CMO of Thrive Market, Ben Nazarian, who is the CEO of Therabody, and Will Kassoy, who is the president of Omaze. So please join me in welcoming them to our panel today. So we're excited to kick off the panel today, and just to share a little bit about Disruptors at Facebook. We created this team at Facebook solely on enabling the disruptor community to support these clients who are transforming the way that they approach their businesses and the industry. With over 100 of the world's leading disruptors brands, we at Facebook help them grow from challenger brands of today to future industry leaders of tomorrow. And we're excited to have some of the best here to share some secret sauce in terms of how they've helped their companies grow and what's in store for the future. So with that said, I'm going to toss it to Amina to tell us a little bit about Thrive Market.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Amina Pasha, and I'm the CMO of Thrive Market. So Thrive Market is a mission-based membership business model that we launched in 2014. It was actually started by 4 founders with the mission to make healthy living easy and affordable and accessible. And since then, we have rapidly grown and have reached over 1 million members, providing healthy and sustainable products and a better and healthier lifestyle to consumers.
If you haven't tried Thrive Market, I am a big fan. So it's definitely an opportunity to try out some amazing products. And Ben, can tell us a little bit about Therabody, and most of you may already know their product, but it is very exciting to have Ben with us today.
Well, happy to be here. Thank you. So I'm Ben Nazarian, CEO of Therabody. We're a tech wellness company with a mission to help people live a better, healthier, happier lifestyle using natural products to deal with recovery, injury prevention, and pain management. We're the creators of Theragun, and that's the brand that most people know us by, but we rebranded to Therabody last year.
Great. And the Theragun has been transformative for my life, my husband's life, many of ours. So we thank you, Ben, and your team for helping us all live a more wholesome life as well.
Thank you.
And Will, we're excited to hear about Omaze. Many of you know and have participated in a lot of their programs, but Will, why don't you tell us a little bit about Omaze?
Great, thanks, Tara. So Omaze was really created to disrupt the fundraising space. We, really help raise funds and awareness for charities, giving people the opportunity to win these once-in-a-lifetime dream experiences and coveted prizes, all really for the price of a cup of coffee.
It's unbelievable. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of participating in these experiences and trying to really contribute to the mission, Omaze is transforming the space and really giving everyday individuals the opportunity to reach these unbelievable experiences. So very excited to hear more. So as we talk about disruption, right, and we're thinking about where's disruption going, how our business is changing, all 3 of these brands are in a different space, right? But the common thread here is that they're changing the way that consumers, us as individuals, are connecting with these brands. And how are we reaching these communities? And disruption is this overused buzzword sometimes that we kind of throw around, but at its core, it's about finding new ways to solve standing problems for our consumers, right? How did it all start? Where is your product going? So if you think about that, Amina, I'll start with you. Why do you feel like Thrive Market is truly disrupting the space, and what was needed, and what was the problem that really Thrive Market was solving?
Yeah, so it's actually a really great story. We have to rewind back 7 years. So it was launched in 2014 with 4 founders, Nick, Sasha, Gunnar, and Kate. And they all had very diverse, backgrounds, but they all had one thing in common. Their parents were really struggling to find, healthy food that was accessible, affordable, easy, especially in the Midwest. So it was very difficult to find those solutions in the Midwest. And the 4 of them got together and said, we have to solve this problem in America, and created Thrive Market to make, healthy living affordable and accessible for everyone. And since then, we've been born out of that mission. The mission is probably our biggest, disruption, because there aren't, brands like us that are going out, all across the nation and really, really making this healthy living and access to food possible, and doing it in a way that it is also sustainable. So at the core of everything we do, every decision we make is this mission. One little tidbit I would love to share is our mission is so real time as well. So last week, with what was going on with the Texas, situation, we were able to instantly send truckloads of groceries and water bottles down to Texas to just help the situation that was going on there. And that continues to be our biggest, point of difference, but also core to what we are as a brand. The other big thing that is, super disruptive in terms of what we're doing is we're trying to create an inclusive, healthy lifestyle. If I take a look at my own family, my husband is keto, he's on high protein, I'm low sugar and carb. My son Armand will eat anything, but we want, healthy and tasteful snacks for him. And Thrive Market does that. It enables you to basically take your needs, which we take through a questionnaire, and then tailor the whole website in, matter of seconds to your needs. So it's like, if you're gluten-free, there is no gluten-free aisle in the shopping store, but there is on Thrive Market. And within seconds, you can get all these products that have been vetted, that are safe, that are high quality, and you don't have to do all that labeling and back-end reading. And so, disruption in terms of mission, disruption in terms of healthy lifestyle, those are the two angles that really make us differentiated in our marketplace.
That's wonderful. And it's so relevant for so many of us that have now dietary restrictions and ways that we live our lives, and some by choice and some not by choice. So it really is serving a need for a lot of consumers. So very exciting. And Ben, when we think about that in terms of disruption and how Therabody is approaching it as a whole lifestyle approach, and so how has the Theragon transformed more into Therabody and really transforming, and how does the vision of the company seem to evolve in terms of how you're paving the way for this new space?
Yeah, so when we started the company, I actually have to go back 8 years before that, because the story started not when we founded the company in 2016, but in 2008 when Dr. Jason, the creator of the Theragun, had a motorcycle accident, and his alternatives to his muscle and nerve damage were painkillers and surgery, neither of which was a solution he wanted to pursue. And so he came up with this concept of a device that goes deeper into the muscle to go to the root of the pain. And as a chiropractor, he had access to the best technologies, but nothing seemed to work. So he literally, necessity is the mother of invention, and he created a percussive therapy device, and it helped him with his pain and then rehab and recovery. The funny thing about the story is it was not a light bulb moment. He didn't think that he's now created something and created a category. It was only until he had a patient who come in and he gave the product to him and it helped him as well that he realized maybe this can help people and it can be an alternative to painkillers and surgery and traditional medicine. Fast forward, we launched a company in 2016. We had our kind of the 15 seconds of fame when Kyrie Irving used it during Game 5 of the championship. And that's when we really got a lot of mass consumer awareness. But interestingly enough, Kyrie used it when his back tightened up. And so he was using it for pain as well. And although we were known more for being a fitness recovery company, because a lot of people who went to the gym started using our product, we look at ourselves as having a mission to help people deal with injury prevention and pain management using natural products, natural solutions. And we've rebranded to Therabody to kind of communicate that larger mission. And the exciting part about this story is there are so many technologies that are available to cutting edge physical therapists, pro athletes, that they use as part of their regimen. Tom Brady being famous for really driving recovery and taking care of his body in a way that allows him to play in his 40s, which is unheard of for a quarterback. Why is that technology not available to all of us? And how can we benefit from those same technologies and products? So what we look at is bringing those products to the masses, democratizing it for everyone. And everyone on this call can benefit from those same solutions whether we're working out or behind a Zoom call all day, and doing it in a way that people trust and understand these products and not making it gimmicky. So technology, R&D, and education are a big part of our DNA to help that happen.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. And I think that even that story behind the evolution of the company is just really helping individuals, not even just pro athletes, but individuals all around the country and all around the world. And your educational videos are so inspiring and very useful as a consumer of them also. And when we look at, if we turn our attention now to Will, and we look at Omaze, very similarly, Omaze is helping individuals reach these experiences. I love the way that you put it, for just the price of a cup of coffee.
Right.
And it's really changing how individuals are thinking about expanding their lives and expanding their opportunities. And so how do you feel that Omaze is really creating the access for individuals, and really the purpose behind the company, and how you continue seeing it evolve?
Yeah, Tara, I think it's helpful to understand also the history for some more context, to just hear the founding story of Omaze as well, because it's really quite inspirational to me and the rest of the organization. The co-founders were invited to, I don't know if you've been to one of these charity galas, high-end events like, expensive table seating, high net worth individuals. And at the auction, the big ticket item was a chance to meet and play basketball with Magic Johnson from the Lakers. And at the same time, the funds would go help benefit the Boys and Girls Club of America. And as the auction got started, the bidding for this item got really, really, higher and higher. If you know Matt Polson, co-founder, CEO of the company, he's also a huge basketball fan, a huge Magic Johnson fan. So this was truly a dream experience for him to be able to win this chance. But very quickly, the price for this item was over $15,000. And as undergraduate students being invited to this auction, really as seat fillers, they weren't part of the high net worth individuals like that they were targeting for this auction. They were very quickly outbid, which was obviously frustrating. And it was frustrating also because there's a whole room full of people that was willing to pay money for this experience that, it felt like we were leaving dollars on the table for the nonprofit. And so after this experience, it really inspired hey, there's gotta be a better way to do this. And they thought about, how can we change, I like, Ben, how you talked about democratizing this to more people, same kind of inspiration where we say why is this cooped up in a small room of maybe a couple hundred people with high net worth individuals? What if we were to democratize this experience and offer it online to the world? And instead of it going to the highest bidder, let's invite people to donate at whatever level they could donate at, so that everyone would have a chance to win this dream experience. And so that was really the foundation and the inspiration for Omaze. And what we've seen with this business model is that we could raise anywhere between 2 and 20 times the amount of absolute dollars for the nonprofit than what could have been raised in a gala.
Unbelievable in terms of the impact even that can bring. And so when you look at that, Will, in terms of experiences, can you share a little bit about what types of experiences are we looking at with Omaze, and how do you select those experiences to really bring that to your audience?
Yeah, I mean, we are a very digitally native company. So we don't have retail, we don't ship products or goods. You're basically contributing a donation for entries to win a chance to win one of these dream experiences. But what it does provide is a lot of agility. Just like we were just talking about earlier, that, we could operate very quickly. And so whether that's, in marketing to capitalize on trends, in the marketplace, tapping into a celebrity who is popping and taking off in the moment, or, really tapping into a cause that's really top of mind. With the pandemic, when things started shutting down in March, within 5 days, we had campaigns that were up and live on our site that were benefiting frontline workers who are battling this pandemic.
Wow. Wow. It's incredible. Well, we really value, I think, also what the companies and all of your companies are doing for our communities, because especially in times like this, it's unprecedented times. We're in a completely new world now, where lives are different. And so we're so fortunate, I think, also to be able to partner with you, and Facebook is so grateful for being a wonderful partner with all of your companies. I love what Will touched on in terms of being digitally first, right? And being a digitally native brand. And when we think about that, there's product, there's digital services. But when we think about digitally native success, so growing on a platform, a lot of disruptors build their brands online now. It's very different than selling directly in stores at first or selling through traditional advertising models. So Ben, would love to get your thoughts in terms of the evolution of Theragon and Therabody and the digitally first approach. How have you felt that this digital strategy has really helped the company grow?
Yeah, so we started the company as a direct-to-consumer business, and digital was the best way to communicate and tell the story. A lot of people looked at our products and didn't know what it was and what it did. And initially, everyone thought we're crazy for going through the digital channels, because who would buy a $600 product that they've never seen or touched or used, and didn't even know what it was. And we actually had a lot of success going through the digital channels, both in terms of having Instagram and Facebook channels, but advertising through both Instagram and Facebook. And it really helped tell our story. And interestingly enough, a lot of our competitors, once they started coming out with knockoff products, they started also knocking off our social media strategy, because we really drove UGC as a way of telling that story. It was a lot more authentic, and we thought our customers telling the story and showing the benefits would be the best way to really communicate what the product does, what a Theragun does, and the benefits of it. And one of our best videos ever, both native on our channels and also an ad, was really just at a convention. It was actually the Ironman. We did a demo for someone, and their reaction of how good this thing felt went viral on social media. And it was our best ad ever. And it really cost nothing to produce. And we called it the "Oh my God" face. And we started doing more of that, and also showing the impact on the muscle and the ripple effect it has on the muscle and the depth that this product has compared to a regular massager. So telling that story through social media really helped get the word out, and was how we launched. Obviously now we've expanded beyond that, but that was the first way we communicated with our audience.
Yeah, it feels also so organic. Even that type of content, the UGC content feels organic. You hear directly from the consumers, and that's what happens. We have seen that, especially with competitors that come out that are trying to learn from your brands, but also compete. And it's unfortunate sometimes that happens with competitors, and that's why someone like Therabody, you're always still innovating. We see that a lot, even with Therabody, always pushing the envelope forward, and that's what disruptors are amazing at. And so, Amina, when we think about Thrive Market, similarly, the brand has really thrived on the digitally first platform. And so, how has your team really stayed ahead of the curve, right? As the CMO, what is your vision and how you continue helping to push Thrive Market forward?
Yeah, no, we've also been, digitally born, being a direct-to-consumer company. And the advantage we've had with that is, as we've seen, consumer evolve and trends evolve, we've been able to stay ahead of the pace in the game. And so, thinking about who our audience is, we're looking for the wellness champion, we're looking for conscious consumers. But when the pandemic hit, we quickly understood through social listening that people weren't going to be as diet focused or just as keto or Whole30. They're looking just for easier, healthier solutions. And that made us, quickly pivot into messaging that resonated much, much more strongly. Even simple messaging like save money on organic groceries. People want organic groceries, yet there's such a stigma that they're expensive. And then here comes Thrive Market to make it easy and accessible and get you the healthy food that you need on your plate. in the matter of just, seconds and ordering and whatnot. So it's really been enabled us to reach that audience in a way that we couldn't. We've also seen that, it's evolved. We were pretty much very lower funnel marketing before I had come in. And one of the big shifts we've made is just really move a lot of our spend into upper and mid funnel. And the success in our digital storytelling has actually come from our expert and influencer network, which is very native to our origin as a company. Some of our early seed investors were all the influencers and experts that we endorse today. So whether it's, a Mark Hyman for plant-based healthy living, or a wellness mama who's just like giving, moms healthier tips on how to get by. Those people have been with us since the beginning, and they have actually helped spread the message in ways that are very credible with their audiences and enabled us to tap into other audiences as well. And the advantage with that strategy is we've been able to take their stories and then just create surround sound around it, right? Bring it onto streaming and YouTube and paid social, leveraging ad access on Instagram, leveraging Reels on Instagram, which is such a great format for bringing these like influencers who are just fun and vibing with it and just creating awesome creative solutions on Instagram. So, testing new formats, leveraging the power of influencers to do our storytelling, scaling that across has really, really helped. One of the big insights that we've seen with our influencers has been, people have been stocking up their pantry. And so rather than, them stocking it with the bad stuff, we've been able to come up with this, healthy pantry shelfie concept, where in the matter of seconds, you can just fill it or swap, the same products for healthier alternatives that can keep your pantry healthy and get you that healthy pantry shelfie that you need. And so that actually went super viral for us. We were able to cascade it across all our platforms. And soon we saw our consumers and members all trying to get this healthy pantry shelfie.
I think that's just a great way to think about, as consumers are always struggling to figure out what product should they get, but you can actually look at it from a full pantry perspective. It's a great way to think about, you can just change your whole, you've made this decision to live a healthier lifestyle, and you can make that change pretty much immediately with Thrive Market, which makes it ease at the tip of our fingers now, which we're so lucky in this new digital age. And so with that, I think, I think even back to Omaze, at the kind of the tip of your finger, right? Being able to access these experiences, how has really digital, but also creative, if we start thinking about these creative engagements and the messaging that we're giving to consumers, how has Omaze, because Omaze spans a whole number of different industries in terms of experiences, it really runs the gamut, which is wonderful because it allows consumers who have interest in all different ways, travel and homes and experiences. How has creative and really digital content allowed Omaze to expand the reach to different categories?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really love and appreciate is one of the biggest differentiators at Omaze is our in-house content team. And I've worked both at places with agencies and in-house, and it is especially important in this day and age to be really agile, to work extremely quickly, to have skills in storytelling, et cetera. And so when I take a step back, I really think that's one of our biggest differentiators as an overall company, and it's embedded in our DNA. To give you an example, like in the early days of Omaze, what really allowed us to stand out was our organic content, like videos that we created with some top celebrities, really kind of broke out, and we've generated billions of views organically through, our strength in storytelling and content creation, which is all in-house, and really kind of put us on the map. I would say beyond the organic buzz, we've kind of evolved as an organization, got a lot more sophisticated on the advertising side, and have kind of deployed our strengths and muscle in storytelling into how to do this in smaller formats and on different platforms. And so, we are constantly, creating content that really takes into account the device that the customer is viewing it on, so it really feels authentic and native to the platform. And then in addition, I would say our production has been heavily influenced by a kind of a mobile first approach, where oftentimes we're filming on a mobile phone, or we're asking talent or partners to self-film a lot of content that we would use in our marketing. So all those things have really kind of ladder up to, content plays a really powerful role in our performance. And, I really feel like at the end of the day, like our value proposition is at the end of the day very much about dreams and allowing people to dream the world better. And at the same time to help change the world and help these critical causes, which provides, such great opportunity for creative and creativity to tap into that emotional benefit, that it's really fun as a marketer to be able to play in that kind of palette, in that environment.
Yeah, it's a fun way to think about it, and just thinking about the way that disruptors now are really creating these dreams, right? And it's really changing the way that people are looking at opportunities. They're looking about their own lives and looking about really how they can transform their own experiences. So it's really a new world that we're living in. And I think to that, even Amina, back to you, I would love to think about, when we think about that creative, I love what Will's touching on in terms of these influencers, but also filming on a mobile phone. This is unheard of, right? Five years ago, even it was a whole production crew. We wouldn't be able to do it in a remote world. Advertising would be much more challenging. And so with Thrive Market, your team has really paved the way for some really incredible content. And so as you think about how it continues to change and the messaging, and there's always a roadmap for the future, how do you imagine that not only influencers, but content will potentially change?
That's a great question. And, similar to Will, I'm also super proud of the in-house creative content and community team that we've been able to build. It's a muscle and a speed and agility. The level of scrappiness that they're able to create is unparalleled. To me, I think the creative process is completely, transformed from what it used to be. And the ability to leverage, Instagram to just social listen to what is happening with consumers and what are their needs and how do they think, what do they define as healthy or unhealthy? Has it really enabled us to get very deep and close to our consumers' psyche? And to me, the best creative comes when you have that, deep understanding of your consumer. What are their needs? You see the cultural trends, and then you can use your brand story to basically solve their life problems, right? Because their life problems are constantly evolving. And so one of the tactics that our content and community team has been leveraging very successfully is to ask provocative questions, on Insta stories, right? Like, what is ethical sourcing? What does healthy mean to you? And it's been amazing to see how, the audience responds and what they know, what they may not know. And then our role as a brand to help educate and provide, the right solutions and tips to get them those needs, and solutions. One of the big insights we uncovered, particularly, post the pandemic, is people don't want to be preached at. They all want to live a healthier lifestyle, but they want to do it their own way. And so that led to this messaging of do healthy your way. And it really resonated with our audience because there's no right way, there's no wrong way. Thrive's role is to be that trusted partner. And as a result, we can then create a lot of fun creative because however you're doing healthy is shareable back. And, back to your point, the next step of us filming on the phone is actually just having them film themselves and then share back their reels, their stories, their excitements of how they're doing healthy their way when they get these Thrive products, right? And this Thrive lifestyle. And so I think the future is really making them the hero and using them as the creative and getting them to, celebrate and share the brand.
That's wonderful. And it really lends me to think about, Ben, and your comment earlier about how a lot of UGC content was utilized. And so as Therabody continues to evolve, is that something that you feel, the brand will lean into? How do you feel like you continue evolving? All right. And if you were to think about giving advice to Therabody and thinking about your team growing, how do you think it's going to change even over the next 1 to 3 years in terms of the creative and the development of your creative?
Yeah, I think we've always encouraged trying new things. When we started posting UGC, a lot of people in the industry and agencies said, that's crazy. It's not on brand. And yet it worked for us. And so I think part of our strategy is continuously experimenting, trying new things, seeing what works. And I think we'll continue to do that over the next 1 to 3 years, because what worked 3 years ago is not going to work 3 years from now. So we need to be ahead of the curve, experiment and try new things to see what will work for us. The UGC is great, but I think now people understand what that product is and the category has been better defined. Now it's more about all of the different use cases for the product. So what differentiates us, telling that story, what differentiates, what are all the different ways of people using it? So it's not just thought of as a fitness recovery product. We've been telling a lot more stories about how this product is great for sleep. And that is not necessarily thought of using a Theragun that is kind of going deep into your muscle and helping you sleep better. But if you think about it, it's like getting a deep tissue massage and right before you go to bed. Of course, that puts your body into a meditative state and it's going to help you sleep better. So how do we tell people so that a Theragun is more integrated into someone's everyday lifestyle and not thought of as just a gym product? And as we roll out new product lines, making sure that people understand how that fits into the overall mission, and having an internal content team similar to what Will was talking about really helps, because what we found is we have to be nimble, be quick, and that doesn't work for us if we're relying on an external agency, because the turnaround time is just not as fast. So I would say if there's one word that kind of describes our strategy is experimentation.
Love it. A true disruptor in how you approach it. And when we think about that and experimentation and talk about growth, let's think about even consumers, right? And a brand grows only so much within a category. And we think that these categories are expanding, but eventually once you become a core player in a particular industry, competitors may come in, but the industry is only so large in a particular vertical. So how do you think about overall international expansion? Right? Is that something that you feel like there's opportunity for? Do you feel like it expands the market, or is it really a core focus to focus on the key consumers that are really consuming your product? So Ben, would love to think about your perspective, especially as you lead Therabody into its future.
Yeah, I think from the Theragun category, we're still very, very early on in our growth and market penetration. So that by itself has a very big future ahead of it. We also have been thinking about growth beyond Theragun. So launching TheraOne, our CBD product line, and we're launching our pneumatic compression line in the next couple of months. So it's product expansion, but international is a big part of our growth, and e-commerce, digital, storytelling, and again, thinking about Instagram, Facebook as a way of communicating with those audiences has been a big part of our international strategy. But I can tell you that at first we did not do too well. It failed because we thought that US content would translate even to countries that are similar in culture, Australia, England, but it didn't work. It was not successful. For whatever reason, I still don't exactly know why it didn't work, but that content did not translate well. So we really had to localize that content and the entire strategy. So now we have localized teams in each of the major markets that is creating content and developing campaigns and digital strategies that are specific to that country. And ever since we did that, and it was a very significant investment, we have seen a much better success, and it is now working. So that was definitely a lesson we learned, and we pivoted quickly.
That's great. It's impressive to be able to see a young brand be able to pivot so quickly, because it's challenging for many brands to be able to take that and learn from those experiences. So it's a great learning for our audience here, and really thinking about the future of disruption and where they can learn from all of your amazing brands. And so Will, would love to get your perspective in terms of overall growth and expansion as Omaze continues to be a leader really in transforming this category. Omaze is essentially created a category. How do you see the opportunity in terms of continuing to push the envelope and growing this long-term impressive business?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a big part of our, our revenues, our donations today comes from outside of the US. And it's, an area that we're seeing actually growing faster in some markets than the growth we're seeing in the US. So it's super exciting area for us. It's a big area of focus. As it relates to marketing and advertising, what's nice is, a lot of the experiences that we curate are very relevant and things that we market all around the world today. What's fun is to use, some technologies like with Facebook, like the dynamic, what is it called? DSO, that, will help like do translation in some of these markets, like that helps drive better resonance. So the message is getting through. So that's like one way that drives a lot of speed. But, we are seeing a lot of growth in international just from a pure marketing perspective. And then there's some certain categories that, we're really excited about that are like new verticals for us that we sometimes will test and launch outside of the US first. And so there's one in the UK, which is completely blowing up, which is completely transforming our business. And so I'm really excited for how we could kind of really balance, a series of campaigns that we curate that are for global audiences, but also for local audiences as well. And it's the one thing that probably keeps me up at night is how quickly we could create those local, curated experiences in local markets, how quickly we could do that.
Yeah, it's impressive to be able to reach that, and you're able to see the opportunity in new markets. And so Amina, I mean, I think that's something also where Thrive Market, we're seeing overall growth in general with consumers, new markets. How do you see the overall growth over the next 1 to 5 years and beyond?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we've had tremendous growth pre-pandemic and of course post-pandemic, and then coming into this year as well, both in terms of the number of members. We reached our 1 million member milestone last year. And we also saw, explosive growth on the revenue standpoint, and we want to continue to maintain those aggressive goals into this year. But when you take a step back, we also can say we only have 1 million members, and they are far more health-conscious consumers looking at the population of the US, that we actually don't need to go international right now, but stay laser-focused and really build and deepen our penetration within the local market. That being said, we still have a lot to do, and it will start, our growth is synonymous with our mission. So we are, anchoring in even further and deeper into our mission. There are 54 million Americans who are food insecure today, and we feel we have a huge role to play in solving that problem. So we have already pledged that we will raise $10 million in healthy groceries. We are about $4 million in, so still work to be done to get to that goal. But a lot of the BIPOC communities are affected, and we really want to make sure that we are really getting to the root cause of the problem, right? So mission will continue to be there. Sustainability and environmental responsibility. We're not just building a healthy, company, we're building a better company, really looking at how we can go from zero waste and being carbon neutral to actually being carbon negative. And we believe these are values that, our members will truly appreciate and stick with us in the long run, because we're building the right values in the ecosystem of the company. In terms of growth, sky is really the limit. We have barely even started to, expand our marketing channels and our media mix. We just started testing into TV and streaming. And there's huge upside potential that we're just seeing in the early tests that we're doing there, that our message really, really resonates. And that should be, able to crack our awareness, which is very low from an unaided awareness standpoint still. So while, we're seeing, the movement beginning, there's just so much more opportunity for us to grow our top of mind awareness and our unaided awareness. And so that's going to play another key role in scaling our marketing mix over the course of the next several years. And then we know that we can be much more than just a healthy product brand. We can really be a lifestyle brand, right? And so working on plans that really bring the intersection of, content, community, our experts all onto the site, One of the programs we've just launched recently is our Thrive Live program, where you now have direct access to all of our experts and influencers. Every month we launch a different innovative session, with Mark Hyman and Food is Medicine. And so you really can tap into a community of people and feel like you belong with this brand, more so than just the product transactional side. And then the last part for growth is, building the right culture. So much of it is to have the right strategy, but if your culture isn't the same growth mindset, you'll be set behind. And so for us, it's really been about building a culture of radical empowerment, really driving accountability, and then rewarding those performers who are coming up with these growth ideas and seeing it to fruition and driving results. And we think that completes the whole cycle in our strategy for driving, better growth year on year.
Great. It's wonderful. And the amount of learnings that we're able to get from that and you sharing that. So many disruptors are going to be able to learn from this and such an opportunity. So as we near the end of the panel, would love to get some thoughts in terms of Amina, and maybe we can go around and even think about, we've heard about where the company is going. If you were to lend a piece of advice to other growth stage companies out there, what is something that you would say in terms of how to stay disruptive and how to stay ahead of the curve, regardless of industry? What would you lend advice to? And so Amina, we'll start with you.
Great question. Be agile and keep innovating. I mean, today's consumer is more demanding than ever. When I look at the conscious, wellness champion, he or she is expecting more, and we have to keep over delivering and over exceeding on all expectations. And if you're not thinking out of the box, if you're not constantly solving new problems and constantly socially listening, you will you will fall behind. And so, I can give a couple examples on the Thrive Markets case on how we're innovating. The first one is, creating just a better consumer experience. You can never perfect that in my point of view. It's a consistent evolution because consumers are evolving. And if they're evolving, that means brands need to evolve as well. And so with us, we are really up-leveling our shoppability experience while making it more integrated into community and content and influencers. And so another example of how we're innovating on our site is we know that everyone is meal planning, yet it is so complicated and it is so difficult. What should you eat? What are the ingredients? How do you get it? And so we want to create a seamless experience with influencer shopping lists where you can see the recipe, you can single touch add to cart all the ingredients, and you can check out and you have your meal plan and the ingredients and the grocery list done, right? Like just again, in a matter of seconds. That's true innovation, and that's going to help solve a real life problem. We're also looking at, how can we take unhealthy categories and make them healthy? So in the next couple of months, we're going to be launching our healthy frozen category launch, where we will launch over 200 products across, every subcategory, from meals to pizzas to desserts to everything that's going to make your life easy and breezy, but they're healthier. There's no preservatives. They're ready in minutes, and they're fresher than fresh because we are going to freeze them at their peak freshness. So innovative solutions like that that tie back to our mission and reduce food wastage will keep us ahead of the game. And it does mean a lot of sleepless nights thinking what's next, but you have to keep innovating and thinking what's next.
Love that. That's the fun of our work. That's the fun of these industries. And Ben, I think same question for you. Where do you see the opportunity, and what advice would you lend for other disruptors?
So I would say, by definition, being a disruptor means breaking the rules and not doing what everybody else is doing. And I think sometimes accidentally, sometimes out of ignorance, and sometimes out of conviction, we broke a lot of rules. The saying that ignorance is bliss. We did a lot of things that if somebody was an expert, in fact, we had experts tell us, don't do this, it will never work. And we had conviction in our own product and our own logic in terms of what we did, and it worked. And we broke the rules. And the funny thing is, the so-called experts came back and said, hey, wait a minute, I can't believe that worked. We're not going to do it your way. So I would just suggest, my advice would be, you experiment, you try different things, and if it doesn't work, you pivot fast. But breaking the rules is not a bad thing.
I love that. And that is true. A great lesson. And the perseverance that Therabody has seen is it's incredible. I love the pivoting and learning from it. And Will, you always lend incredible advice. Would love to get your thoughts in terms of what would you share with other disruptors and what they can learn, and your advice on how to stay ahead of the curve.
Sure. I mean, I think one thing that's really important for us, and I think translates to any company, is customer centricity, and really building that into the culture of the company. I think in the past have been a lot more transactional focused, and I think we've kind of gone through a pivot to not just think about what's gonna raise the most money for this campaign, but one of the things I'm most excited about is really focusing on the data and the insights post-purchase, and really understanding the trends and the needs of the customer and the behaviors, and how to build that relationship long-term, so that we're not just a transactional brand, but we're actually a guide to our customers' lives in terms of how to get the most out of call it what we call the win-win, which is whether you win this dream-worthy prize, or the second win for us is connecting people to impact. And I think we're just starting our journey in terms of how we're connecting people post-purchase to impact, and then to the community of other Omazers who are all really passionate about dreaming the world better.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, especially to our speakers. And Amina, Ben, Will, we cannot thank you enough. We are so excited. Again, we are the Future of Disruption panel hosted by Facebook, and enjoy the rest of your Montgomery Summit experience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.